Let's get tonight started. First up in the blue corner, Mohammed Abakar.
Right at 8:30. Where are the chairs? Over here. Right here. Right there. That way? My kid does it all the time.
Those dynamic talents that we've seen. You were telling me, John, before we got started, that his amateur record's 1-1, but that doesn't really tell the whole story because he's had a lot of different fights in Quebec that are kind of unregulated and don't show up on his record.
I think the story is 18 fights in less than a year. So he's active, and you mentioned GSC. When we talk about Montreal, everybody always talks about TriStar. Now they're talking about H2O. There are tons of great trainers and teams and gyms all over that great province of Quebec. And this is just one of those next generation of students that want to showcase that it's not all about TriStar.
Now let's give some love to Fabio Holla.
That's right, of course.
Brazilian top team as well, you know. And our own matchmaker, Alex Caparigi of Montreal.
Killed it
we
tonight.
just saw in the background. There he is. Yeah. And this is a short notice fight for Abakar, who missed weight by 1.6 pounds yesterday, 127.6. But good of him to take this fight on short notice against Johnson Pang, who will be making his way to the cage momentarily.
Now making his way to the unified cage in the red corner, Johnson Pang.
And what's great for a lot of these young athletes is they know that there's a path. They see that there's a path from amateur into starting your professional career. You amass a very nice record. You can become a unified champion, get recruited to the Contender Series, win on the Contender Series, and get a contract in the UFC like former champion Cody Camacho.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a great path. In fact, he's the most recent Canadian signee to the UFC. Congratulations to Cody. And Johnson Pang hoping to follow in those footsteps. This is a flyweight bout. He made weight yesterday at, I believe, 124.5 pounds. Unfortunately, lost his pro debut by split decision at BTC in June, just a couple months ago. But he trains at Evolução Thai in Toronto, and this is going to be a great test for him because, like I mentioned with Abakar, this is a really talented, up-and-coming fighter.
And I love, that's one of my favorite teams, the Evolução Thai guys, Maurizio Veo, Andre Dida. These guys have their team well prepared. They're action fighters. This is exactly the type of team and fight style that fans want to see. Just come forward looking for the knockout blow from start to finish. And I think it's going to be very entertaining as we take a look at the tail of the tape from our first fight of the night here at Unified MMA. Johnson Pang fighting out of Toronto. Mohammed Abakar out of Montreal. The old rivalry, Montreal versus Toronto. Abakar will have a slight height advantage in this flyweight contest as we send it up to our cage announcer, Don Andrews.
Good evening, fight fans. Tonight, we come to you on YouTube from the sold-out Rebel nightclub here in Toronto as Canada's ultimate proving ground once again returns to Ontario with a full night of Canadian mixed martial arts. It's all presented by Perfect Sports. Welcome to Unified 63! Our first fight this evening scheduled 3 5-minute rounds in our unified flyweight division. This fight sponsored by 1xBet. In Toronto, the wait is over. Now you can stake on unified MMA with multiple betting options on 1xBet, our betting partner. Sign up with promo code to claim non-deposit free spins. Introducing first, this man fighting out of the blue corner. Standing 5 foot 11 inches tall, his official weight 127.6 pounds. Fighting out of GSC MMA in Montreal, Quebec, and tonight making his pro debut. Please welcome Mohammed Abakar. Across the ring, his opponent, this man fighting out of the red corner. Standing 5 foot 8 inches tall, his official weight 124.8 pounds. His professional record, no wins, 1 loss, no draws, fighting out of Eloko Thai MMA here in Toronto, Ontario. Please welcome Johnson Pang. At the sound of the bell, your referee in charge is Matt Rocca.
Matt Rocca, the third man inside of the unified cage. John Ramtine, Aaron Bronstetter, your commentary team. 3 5-minute rounds, 125 pounds, the division. I think it's going to be a car crash.
Yeah, I think so as well. I think when you have a guy like Abakar making his pro debut, he looks pumped up. And flyweights are always fun. It's always a fun way to start the night.
The two get to the center of the cage quickly, and it is Pang attacking. That oblique kick. Trying to mess with Abakar. Put something out there, trying to get a reaction.
Maybe not the car crash that we anticipated early on, John, but we could get there.
You know what? This is the thing we have to forget. Or we have to remember is, even though these guys are really new in their career, the sport has advanced so much that even when athletes are making their professional debut, because Abakar, as we mentioned, has almost 20 fights under his belt. So, yes, he's making his pro debut, but he's actually very seasoned.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you can tell just from the way he's standing, from the way he's throwing. It's certainly not his first rodeo.
But I still think the car crash is coming.
Yeah, I mean, hey, it's the 4-ounce gloves, right? So he's going to have to get used to that, and when you get used to that, it can end poorly for somebody. A lot more impact.
Abakar, there you see his athletic platform, dynamic striker.
That's how I would define Abakar. I mean, from what we saw when we saw him last time out, I mean, he was so exciting and such, quick twitch fibers in terms of everything he's throwing, and he's got such a diverse arsenal. And to have that kind of an arsenal that you're willing to throw and take that risk early in your career, I think is going to pay dividends for him.
Abakar really, it seems like he's trying to get a read right now, trying to process as much information about Pang as possible. Pang swiping with that right hand. A right hook. Nice push kick up the middle. Drops Pang to the canvas, wide-eyed right now. Abakar says, get back up, buddy. Get back up. Abakar taking his time. Pang has got to make something happen. Because Abakar is going to blitz.
His timing is just impeccable. That was a nice kick from Pang.
Abakar go from stop to speedy really quick.
That was a couple centimeters away here in Canada. We'll use that terminology.
Oh, look at this.
An eye poke, but I don't think Matt Rocca saw it, but Pang giving Abakar the space to recover.
And that shows you Abakar's inexperience in pro. Because if Pang wanted to, he could have went right after him.
Absolutely. Good sportsman.
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
And you hear Maurizio Veo saying, let's go. It's your turn. You've got to inflict damage here. You've got to get some respect. Because right now it's Abakar hunting. The headlock, old school.
Grabbing onto the cage there.
Pang taking the back, one hook in. Minute and a half remaining in our opening frame. Ken Pang.
He's got to let go of the cage. I mean, he's going to lose a point.
Jumps to the back, slick move, trying to get under the neck of Abakar.
And again, with some relative inexperience there from Abakar, he probably could have done his best to stay standing there and shake him off, but Pang using that momentum to get him to the ground, and now...
Body triangle.
I mean, I don't think this is where Abakar wants to be.
No.
You saw when he got the knockdown, he wanted him right back on the feet. That's where he's most comfortable, and Pang taking advantage of that now. Now he's got his feet inside the cage, right? So this is where the referee needs to...
Be assertive.
Potentially take a point. I mean, he's warned them already. I know toes are different from fingers, but it's the same infraction.
Abakar in big trouble, belly down. He's trying to get out of this spot because he can't stay here for very long.
It's a shot to the back of the head as well from Pang. But, you know, ultimately the reason why the referee isn't penalizing him there is because it's not having an impact on the position. It's not doing anything. The only reason why you would take a point in that situation is because he's been warned.
Right.
But I mean, it's not impacting Pang's. Pang's got a dominant position. It's not detracting from that at all.
But Pang's got to continue to do this. He's got to keep landing these shots just to send a message to the judges.
Absolutely, because he's down.
Yep.
I mean, he got knocked down.
Yep.
And now he's got to try to impose his will and shift the judges' perception of how this round has gone.
Dying seconds. Has he done enough to send that message to the judges?
You know, personally, I don't think so, but I think that you could certainly make a case. And he's got dominant position, and now
looking for the arm lock from the bottom. Couple of hammer fists. And Abakar trying to storm back to the end of the round.
So that was a promising round for both fighters because Abakar had the knockdown. He had that nice spinning back fist that connected. But then you look at Pang, and he found a path. You know, if he's able to take him down, it seems like he's able to control Abakar there and take advantage of his relative inexperience on the ground because it seems like he's a lot more comfortable on the feet. And that's where I think Pang's best winning conditions are based on what we've seen so far.
It feels if you're Pang, what you want to do is you want to try to remove some of that athleticism from Abakar, and I think the best way to do that is to make him work, right? Get in close, try to force takedowns, because you see right now it looks like Abakar is a little winded as we look back at some of the highlights from round one, and it's because he's a dynamic athlete.
And it's a short notice fight as well, right? So that's something you need to take into consideration. If you are dependent on your energy systems, you haven't had a proper camp, those can fail you pretty quickly.
But Abakar does look fresh going into round two.
These are flyweights too, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Typically, they have the best gas tanks of any of the male divisions.
Round two about to get underway. Mohammed Abakar, the black shorts with the blue wraps. His adversary, Johnson Pang, the red wraps, representing Avalu Siao Tai.
Change your level, Johnson. Always change your level. Different look. Yes. Down.
And Pang can't wait because these things are going to keep coming his way.
Nice body kick, but I think the mistake that Abakar made there was posing the distance too much. Because now Pang knows that, and okay, this is going to be a loss of a point.
It's going to be a point. Yeah, the point, yeah.
It's got to be. He can't keep grabbing the cage. Now, what I'm curious to see here is whether Rocca gives the position back to Pang and says, hey, you take his back, you're up against the cage.
Oh, no.
Nope, he's going to reset. I mean, listen, sometimes the point is a penalty enough in and of itself. I mean, he can't really win the round now unless he gets a 10-8. So I understand the decision there to reset position, but yeah, that being said, now Pang is where Abakar wants him.
And it really feels like Pang just has to wait for Abakar to get close.
Another potential eye poke there. I know Abakar was rubbing his eye. I didn't see whether it was a knuckle or finger personally.
But you see the hands are open by Pang. Nice inside leg kick.
And you can see that his leg is starting to get very red from those kicks. Lots of money in the bank from Abakar early on.
Spinning attack, didn't materialize. Nice counter right hook by Mohammed Abakar.
Change your level, Johnson.
Abakar continues to stalk. Pang just with little pitter-pat shots. And he's going to walk into a massive left hand.
And Abakar's doing his best to close the distance, but also keep him at range. And I think that is the best strategy for him because when it's gotten close like this is where Pang has started to capitalize. Those are some nice knees to the lower body.
Nice elbow attempt by Pang. Does not seem afraid at all or concerned as he lands a right hand right on the chin. And a good strategy by Pang, but
oh, beautiful entry.
Abakar certainly scored there, but Pang definitely showcasing his beard.
Yeah, I mean, it's held up. He took that spinning back fist in the first. He did get knocked down once, but
there's another spinning attack out of nowhere.
So fast, and that's what we love about these flyweights. And Abakar in particular, we talked about this as he was walking to the cage, just how dynamic his striking is and how much of an arsenal he has.
Certainly a prospect we should keep our eyes on.
Change your level 2. Brasso. Go. Nice.
Excellent strategy by Pang. With more than 2 minutes remaining in the second round. As you pointed out, Abakar took this fight on short notice.
Oh, he's got to try to scramble and escape here, but now he ends up in the mount.
This is a very good spot for Pang.
I mean, he's blocking.
And look at that athleticism.
That's just pure strength.
Holy smoke, strength and timing. Mohammed Abakar seized his moment and finds himself on top,
now
administering punishment.
I'm curious whether he separates and stands up, because he's got his opponent in a good position right now, but it seems like he's at a disadvantage in the grappling.
Now he gives up his back.
So that's a mistake. I think that he should have tried to split
immediately.
Yeah, as soon as he had the opportunity, because now he's
being flattened out.
Hooks are not in yet, but he's looking to establish the hooks. And
now they are.
One.
Now they are looking for the rear choke. Johnson Pang trying to make it a rough ride for Mohammed Abakar.
No, he was getting a little high, but he adjusted. That was well done. Nice baseball bat grip here from Abakar, who's going to reverse the position.
He does.
He does. Beautifully done. So, I mean, he is a little bit inexperienced at the grappling. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's not a fish out of water. And now he's looking for a guillotine here. But
big
he's
deep
breathing
breath,
heavy.
big deep breath there.
Looking at the clock.
Do you run the risk of burning out your arms?
I don't think so. I think you do whatever you possibly can to stand up and break off. But it seems like, again, the energy is not in his
dwindling.
It's dwindling.
Oh, yeah.
Was that he's reversing to an anaconda.
And look at this, and now he gets a sweep and finds himself on top. This is great.
Yeah, this is we're underestimating him, it seems, with the grappling. You know, we've been talking about that, and then
there's the choke again.
He's pulling things out of his hat.
And they're looking for the submission choke. Trying to wrap up the legs.
Pang is spinning. He's doing the right thing.
Lots of space for Pang.
But this is all still scoring. We have to remember also, John, a point was lost by Abakar, so his best case scenario right now is a 9-9.
Which means he's probably still up.
I would say so. I think that you give him this round, it's now 19-18 heading into the final round.
And you feel that this is Abakar's round?
I think so.
Okay.
You look at the quality of strikes landed on the feet. When Pang did get mount, it seems like everything that he was throwing was blocked by Abakar, at least for the most part. That would be my guess. Again, I'm trying to watch this through the lens of a commentator, not a judge, but at the same time, I am a licensed judge in Ontario.
That's right.
I don't know if you know that.
Yes.
I don't know if you know that, John. So,
and that's why you're here, sir, to give the viewers as much information as humanly possible, educate us, tell us from an official standpoint what we're seeing.
Yeah, so I'll tell you that my guess would be that Abakar is up 19-18, but I will say if he gets into these positions again, he grabs the cage. I don't know if it would be a 2-point deduction, because probably not. I don't think the protocol would do that, but it would be a second point deduction, right? So he's got to be careful. So look at that
highlight, awesome stuff.
But yeah, see, we're looking at these highlights, and they're almost all Abakar highlights, because in terms of strikes, see, look at him blocking most of these, right?
Yeah.
Very few are getting through. That one got through, and then he reverses it, right? So if we're scoring based on damage, and the criteria revision came out recently that stresses the importance of damage and stresses the importance of fight-ending scenarios, I think that Abakar had more of them in the second round.
Final 5 minutes between Pang and Abakar. And I would like to see a sense of urgency from Pang.
Yeah, but at the same time, I think that if he can find the right spot, he can capitalize. I don't know if he necessarily needs to put his foot
but he
on the gas.
He can't get to the 2-minute point, 2-minute mark. He's got to do it right now. He's got to get close. He's got to try to find a way to put Abakar on the ground where he can give himself the best winning conditions.
Yeah, I mean, it's easier said than done.
I know, of course.
You switch levels and suddenly you have a knee right up the middle.
And he did a jumping knee, and he got in close, and now he feels, obviously, his best weapons are at distance.
Right, and that's what Abakar wants. He wants to scare him from attempting these takedowns and threaten with different techniques.
Pang trying to get a reaction.
Because that's what he can do, right? He's just pulling stuff out of his hat. This whole fight has just been surprising us with the array of skills that he has.
But Pang has got to do something. Unless he's confident that he's ahead and that he can coast because of the point. Does the team think that he won that first round?
There's another beautiful right hand from Abakar. I mean, I don't think you can rest on your laurels if you're either fighter here, to be honest, especially with the point deduction from on the Abakar side.
Yeah, you're right. You would think you were seeing more urgency from him.
I mean, yeah. Certainly, I think that if he wins this round, like, I would score it for him, but at the same time, like, it could be a 10-8 round for Pang if somebody gave Pang the round last round because of the point deduction. And that's a big difference when it comes to how fights are scored, because then you're going from winning a fight to having a draw.
And there's bad intentions in the mind of Abakar. Mohammed Abakar. Looking for the knockout blow, that swiping right hand. You see wide-eyed.
Yeah, I mean, he's laser focused, and we've seen him throw so many different attacks.
And he's looking for that knockout.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. He's been looking for it all fight. And Pang, to his credit, his chin has not failed him. Even when he got knocked down in the first, Abakar said, you know, get up. He had his wits about him.
And you see Abakar, he doesn't want to chase, because that's what's happening. He's constantly pursuing Pang.
And Pang trying to give him different looks, which I think is the right move. But look at that.
Massive left hand.
Beautiful. And Pang's chin again holding up for him, because these are big shots.
Nice shot to the body. Knee right up the middle.
And now we're back in the grappling realm, and like you said, 2 minutes left in the round. It seems like clockwork every single round, and he's got to watch those fingers, that's for sure, because as soon as he grabs the cage, you got to imagine another point deduction's coming.
And there wasn't one.
There wasn't one. He's learning his lesson. It's good. But that being said, now he's on the ground. Not to say that he should have grabbed the cage and stayed upright, but you know, he's now on the ground.
But
we got one hook in.
But Pang can't waste any time. See this thing, now you're establishing position and you're not inflicting damage, which is the most important thing.
Certainly. He's got to figure out a way to either threaten the submission or try to land some strikes from this position, because otherwise the round is just going to get away from him. 90 seconds can be an eternity in MMA, especially when you're on the ground in this position, but at the same time, when you're on top, the seconds tick faster, right? Because you're on the clock. Yep. You have to make something happen. When you're on the ground, it's kind of a helpless feeling if you're in Abakar's position. But when you're Pang, you know, these seconds are going to go by quickly if he's not landing damage. And now Matt Rocca's looking and saying, well, you know, where's the activity?
Well, I think Pang is saying he's holding my gloves, and if you're Abakar, why not do that? Not saying necessarily hold the gloves, but pinch your arms so he can't get his hands out to land those strikes. You waste time. And
here's some good damage.
Yeah, that's very good damage.
Now he's looking to flatten them out.
And if I'm Pang, I'm not stopping. I'm just continuously doing this.
And he's landing clean shots. He's landing to the side of the head.
But I think he wants to finish. That's what
I mean, I think he needs to finish. But he's looking for it right now. 30 seconds left in the fight. If Abakar can survive this, I think he's probably going to either win and, worst case scenario, draw. But
if you're Pang, you have to redline. You absolutely have to redline.
And now we got a baseball bat grip, and that's probably how the rest of this fight goes. Is Abakar defending and Pang ultimately, I don't think, doing enough. But we'll have to see how the judges score it, because Pang did have a lot of success on the ground. And there it is, the final bell.
A very interesting fight between two young professionals just starting their mixed martial arts campaign. And you see the team from Evolution Thai with smiles on their faces. They're confident their guy won.
Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised by that, but again, I'm not really watching through the lens of judging. To me, I thought that Abakar did enough, but that point deduction could make or break the result of this fight.
The judges are deliberating. Did each fighter leave it all inside of the cage? This must be one of those nerve-wracking feelings where you literally have no idea.
Yeah, agreed. There's a lot of factors, right? Did Pang do enough damage on the ground? Was the control and dominant positions, the judges look at that as being particularly damaging.
And to be fair, if you are Pang and you're the team of Lucio Tai, I know they're not going to say this, but when they go back and look at the fights, they're like, actually, Abakar grabbed the fence a bunch of times, and he was not penalized. So if he was penalized, this fight probably goes to Pang for sure.
Yeah, again, I think it depends on how the rounds are scored.
Sure.
No such thing as probably for sure.
Yeah, probably for sure.
Probably for sure. Something it could have played a role for sure. That it for sure could have played a role. We'll go with that.
Some of the highlights from this flyweight affair. Both fighters with a lot of bright spots.
Just such a dynamic striker.
It certainly seemed that Mohammed Abakar had the more impactful strikes. The grappling, I think, belonged to Pang. But I think the results are in. We have the answer. My main man, Don Andrews, will let us know who will leave the cage victorious.
Fight fans, after 3 rounds of action, we go to the judges' scorecard for a decision. Judge Declan Woods scores the fight 28-28. Judge Patricia Vandermeer scores the fight 29-27, Abakar. And Judge Salim Hanif scores the fight 29-27 for your winner by majority decision. In the blue corner, Mohammed Abakar.
Abakar gets the decision. Again, I think that's the right call. And like you said, his team, Pang's team rather, was very confident they won. But I think that if they go back and watch this fight, you're looking at it through the lens of who did the most damage, which is what the judges are looking at right now. I think that they might have a different opinion of how this fight went.